Tragedy at UNC Chapel Hill, 1 week after the start of school. A faculty member killed in a school building.
This is my first week at college and this is already happening.
The panic was happening either way, and it only made it worse, like not knowing what was going on.
They're just trying to, learn in a place we pay to be, that we're unsafe here. That, wasn't a good feeling.
Campus on lockdown for hours. Students learning little about what was happening.
Streets here on campus are bare tonight. Students share how they feel now that their campus is the latest one stricken by gun violence.
University leaders mourn the death of the person who died.
This loss is devastating, and the shooting damages the trust and safety that we so often take for granted.
What happened at this building on UNC's campus? Everything we know.
And students and staff concerned about how the situation was handled.
We didn't have really any information.
Meanwhile, it was right next door.
Yeah, it was next door.
I took those concerns to university officials today. Here's what they had to say.
WFMY News 2 at 11 starts right now.
A suspect is in custody tonight accused of killing a faculty member on UNC Chapel Hill's campus. Good evening, I'm Chad Silber.
And I'm Sydney Moore. Today we've heard the stories from terrified students. Now we are seeing some of what they saw. This video shows students jumping out of a 2-story window, tossing their bags down and leaping outside. Those who waited got the all clear.
Hey guys, you guys are all fine, okay? Just take a deep breath.
Take a deep breath. Law enforcement checking in with students hiding in a classroom, giving them some reassurance after a frightening few hours.
There were about 90 minutes from the time the 911 call came in about a shooting on campus to a suspect in custody.
The students were hunkered down for hours as police swarmed campus. Kicking off our live team coverage tonight, WFMY News 2's Hannah Jeffries takes us through the chaotic couple of hours.
Chad and Sydney, all of this started right here at Cottle Laboratories, which is in the middle of UNC Chapel Hill's campus. It is also just steps away from the iconic bell tower, which not only represents the university, but also the entire state as a whole. All of this happening just this afternoon around 1:02 p.m. 2 minutes later, leaders sent out an emergency alert notifying campus and issuing a lockdown. When police got to Cottle Labs, they found a faculty member who'd been shot and killed. Police aren't revealing their identity until their family is notified. The chancellor encouraged the grieving UNC community to come together during this difficult time.
This loss is devastating, and the shooting damages the trust and safety that we so often take for granted in our campus community. We will work to rebuild that sense of trust and safety within our community, and our hearts are with the family of our fellow faculty member, those who are personally connected to the victim, and those traumatized by this senseless act of violence.
School officials say no one else was hurt. UNC Police Chief Brian James says officers originally detained someone else matching the suspect's description, but released them once they realized it wasn't the suspect.
That was based on just the description that we were given of the suspect and that person being in close proximity of the incident.
90 minutes after the shooting, officers say they arrested the suspect. The chief says they still haven't found the gun that was used, and tonight you can see that tape is still there even through the night. FBI agents have been walking through trying to collect that evidence, trying to find the gun, the phone, anything that was used in this situation so we can get more details about what happened this chaotic afternoon in Chapel Hill. Hannah Jeffries, back to you.
Hannah, thank you. Now, while that investigation played out, students were huddled inside classrooms or found ways to get out. WFMY News 2's Amber Lake met some of the thousands of students whose innocent start to the school year was ripped away.
Chad, it's the second week of class. Students should be worrying about which course is going to be the hardest this year. Instead, I'm sure they're just trying to still wrap their head around what happened here today.
It was just a situation that I'd never want to be in ever again.
I got the alert
and heard sirens.
I remember like looking up at like the screen, and like we had like this huge message on the screen that said like there was like an active shooter.
It's been a day many students won't forget.
By no means is this a normal day.
Honestly, we had no idea what was going to happen.
An active shooter shut a campus down, forcing many students to hide in their classrooms.
We had everybody settle down with the lights off, just awaiting news. We were told just about as much, as the public was.
We were getting texts on our phone from friends, but it was all rumors. We had no idea where the shooter was at the time. So anytime we heard someone coming down the hall, it was very scary.
It was very like hectic. I remember like they were like trying to keep everybody in.
Students had to shelter in place for hours until the man accused of shooting and killing a professor was finally in custody.
Hearing that he's finally in custody makes you feel a little more safer.
It was definitely a lot of calls. My mother wouldn't let me get off the phone with her until basically 2 hours ago.
I don't think that the majority of us still feel safe.
Several students told me the same thing today. You never expect anything like this to happen on your school campus. Now that it has, it's going to take some time to recover from it. Live in Chapel Hill, Amber Lake, WFMY News 2.
Amber, thank you. Other universities were quick to respond, showing support for UNC. NC State posted on social media, "Our thoughts are with UNC Chapel Hill in this difficult time. Counselors are available for anyone in the Wolfpack community who would like to speak with someone." And UNC Greensboro posted, "The Spartan family extends our condolences to our colleagues and classmates at UNC Chapel Hill. Counselors from UNCG Student Health Services are available to any student who would like to speak with someone."
After these types of emergencies, we'll often hear about the procedures in place to keep people safe. UNC does have protocols for critical incidents, but WFMY News 2's Nixon Norman found out some students didn't feel they were followed.
That's right. I spoke with several students today, many of which were shaken up by today's events, but some of them even felt unprepared as the situation unfolded.
We were told to take a decision by ourselves about what to do. A lot of us are 17, 18, 19, and it is horrible that we're just told what to do and make a decision for ourselves. Like, we're looking at the people of authority in class and no one knows what to do, which was horrible.
That was UNC freshman Sim Young Panda, who says she chose to hide in a closet. Another UNC student, a graduate student, Drew Patel, also sheltered in place, but he did so at a nearby Starbucks. He says he got various text message alerts from the university, but too feels there was not much of a plan in place, or if there was, it was not widely known.
None of us have really ever been trained about this and had a drill about this, or it could have been in the ends of emails or a link to click that's not optional, or that's optional, but I feel like we were all unprepared today.
During a news conference with local law enforcement and university officials, I specifically asked the chancellor of UNC about some of these students' concerns. He says the university does have a plan in place, although he did not elaborate, but did say he was proud of how today was handled.
Even the best laid plans, as you know, and protocols, sometimes they don't play out as you'd like to, but I'm very pleased with what we know at this point. We'll have an opportunity to review that, learn from the investigation and questions that are being asked, and certainly put improvements to that if need be.
Now, the university's website does have an active shooter critical incident response, which says students should not do things, or they should do things like assess the situation, call 911 once they are out of harm's way, hide if they can't get out, and confront the shooter if they also can't get out. Live in Chapel Hill, I'm Nixon Norman, WFMY News 2.
Nixon, thank you. As the situation was unfolding on campus, people just off campus were also on high alert. Workers at nearby businesses sheltered in place for hours. Neighbors hunkered down in houses as police swarmed their neighborhoods. A woman who lives and works near campus was at home at the time and panicked trying to reach coworkers.
People were confused. People didn't know what was going on. They kept getting alerts to stay in place and not move. And obviously the doors to the building were locked.
Katie Leisure told us that she felt more at ease when she finally reached her husband, who works near campus.
Lawmakers are reacting to today's shooting, the most recent one on a college campus across the U.S. Governor Roy Cooper said in part, this is a tragic way to start a new semester, and the state will provide any assistance necessary to support the UNC community. Senator Tom Tillis responded on social media saying, quote, "These scenes out of UNC Chapel Hill are heartbreaking and something that no student, teacher, or parent should ever have to live through. Susan and I mourn the innocent life taken. We must all continue to work together to protect our schools, confront the nation's mental health crisis, and keep firearms out of the wrong hands."
Getting confirmation of a faculty member killed, it's impacting college faculty really all across the state. I talked with a faculty member from North Carolina Central. She's also a triple Tar Heel, which means she got her undergrad, her master's, and her PhD at UNC Chapel Hill. She is a product of and a member of the UNC system, and she's fearful.
Hearing that a faculty member was killed is really heartbreaking. For me as a faculty member, anyone can walk into our classroom, including students who may be upset about their grades or anything. And it just, I'm still waiting for the details of what happened, of course, but it does bring a very, very serious sense of fear for me as a faculty member.
There are still a whole lot of unanswered questions, motive, relationship between the shooter and the faculty member. But what we do know, and what Dr. Watkins and other faculty around the state know, one of their own is dead, and it is heartbreaking.
It is no surprise that classes have been canceled tomorrow. It's not clear what that means for the rest of the week.
As for the investigation, campus police say it could take several weeks to complete. We hope to know more about the victim, the suspect, and the motive in the next coming days.
In the meantime, the university is activating a hotline tomorrow at 8 a.m. for concerned parents and others who have questions. You can see the number there at the bottom of your screen. It's 919-918-1999.
You know, there are a couple terms that are kicked around a lot within the Carolina circles. One is an acronym. It stands for a great day to be a Tar Heel. The other is the Carolina family. We hear it a lot when we're talking about athletics, but today that family was tested. And today it really transcends academics and athletics. It really encompasses the entire Carolina family, from alumni to current students to families and extended families. We were tested today. But you know what? You hear this a lot when we see these incidents happen across the country. Boston strong, Orlando strong. Well, guess what? Now we're Carolina strong. This incident does not and will not ever define the university and the people that love it. In fact, if anything, it's made us stronger. So one thing I take away from this that I know in my heart, after all this, we build back. The students will return. We'll love this university and the community of people always. And one thing that will never change from this day on and every day from here on after, it will always be a great day to be a Tar Heel.